Hey Summoners, make sure that you've subscribed to the Mobalytics YouTube channel and hit that bell button. That way you're always up to date and part of our notification squad. Welcome back to the Mobalytics 9.12 update and Q&A video. I'm your challenger coach, Adam Moriarty Isles, here to take you through all the changes and questions you had. As a disclaimer, I'd like to mention that we only update the normal list as of right now, as the high-ELO one wouldn't really have a big enough dataset to make the update worthwhile at this point in time. Now with that out of the way, let's just jump right into the update. Starting off in S-tier, we have quite a few changes as we have Tahm Kench, Yorick, Urgot, Mordekaiser, and Karma. This means that Nasus after many months has fallen out of our S-tier, mostly because he can no longer hold his own 1v1 versus the new overlords of top lane Mordekaiser and Karma, who Riot grossly overbuffed. Release Mordekaiser had around a 58% win rate until his hotfix came through, but still maintains an absurd 54% win rate after it. It's not even that his kit is particularly powerful, it's more so that his numbers are way too high. For example, he's one of the few champions who can beat Tahm Kench in melee fights. Yeah, imagine having to pick melee champions in top lane into something that even Tahm Kench can't beat. But once his numbers go down, probably after another nerf, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. It's just that right now, he is definitely a ban-worthy top laner. Unfortunately though, Karma top either full tank or hybrid tank with Klepto is back. I'm fairly certain no top laners are happy about this, except maybe Kennen players, as people will swap their hatred for him to Karma as an even more annoying to play against top lane range champion. After Karma received her massive buffs to the E-speed duration and mana cost, along with the extra 10% slow on Q, she became a pretty much unkillable top laner while also being able to run you down forever. The other issue with her is if she won the ball in coin flip due to her utility, she's gonna easily transition her lane lead into teamfight wins. And I'm extremely happy to not play top lane so I don't have to deal with this thing. As for the rest of the list, in A tier we have Pyke moving up, which should be no surprise. Feel free to pick him up for a bit if you feel like some free wins because Riot's gonna nerf him ASAP out of solo lane viability. For Shen, he dropped out at A tier because he can't deal with Mordekaiser or Karma at all. And in B tier, Alawi, Sion, Ornn were sent to the graveyard for the same reason. Karma, and especially Mordekaiser, define who can even be in top lane right now. Moving over to the jungle, in S tier we have Vi, Amumu, Nunu, and Volibear, which means no changes, but we do have a new addition to A tier, which is Jarvan IV, also known as the Jarmander, or by his rap name J-Money. J4 makes a bit of a comeback in this meta as one of the more aggressive engage options while also having early game pressure. He might honestly be the most well-rounded jungler, as he can early gank, power farm, invade, take objectives quickly, and engage. He also has a lot of build options, as he can go bruiser, tank, or go for the YouTube montages with 1080 one-shot style. It's J-Money's versatility that is causing him to be popular in both competitive play and in solo queue, though personally, I recommend you go at least warrior so he has a strong early game, no matter what type of J4 you decide to play. The only other major change we have would be dropping Udyr from A tier to B tier. With teams picking anti-melee champions for top laners like TK, Mord, Karma, and then Enchanter meta coming back for support, Udyr just has fewer options early game and no options late game. For B tier, you'll notice Rek'Sai joining and also Mordekaiser, cause he's just that OP, you might as well jungle him if he's open. Heading into mid lane S tier, we have Mordekaiser, Karma, Lux, Malzahar, Vel'Koz, Ahri, and Pyke. Mordekaiser's base numbers are just too high at the moment, so he can even perform well in mid lane, but he will likely drop down to S tier once his numbers are lower, as his kit is not suited to deal with mages like Malzahar or Vel'Koz. As for Karma, she is built full AP in mid lane, but can swap into some support items like Ardent Censer or Athene's Unholy Grail if her AD carry is worthy enough. Honestly though, Karma's buffs just made her too strong in multiple roles. You'll notice Morgana was finally taken out of S tier. This happened for two reasons. The first being that she can't do much to beat champions like Pyke who will just all in and kill her, she can't stop Ahri from roaming, or stop Malzahar, Vel'Koz, and Mordekaiser from perma pushing then scaling into oppressive teamfight monsters. The other reason being in terms of Enchanter's mid lane, she is just outclassed by both Karma and Lux in terms of offensive, defensive, and utility for a team. Don't get me wrong, Morgana is still a good champion and has amazing options as a counterpick, especially to champions like Fizz. But in mid lane right now, she isn't really bringing that carry potential you're looking for. Instead, definitely look to pick up Karma as your go-to pick, but keep Morgana as a pocket counter pick for a way better pick ban strategy. Moving down to A tier, we have two new additions with Talon and Echo. They both got added for pretty much the same reason. Mid lane at the moment has two kinds of champions. Champions who are far too safe, looking at you Lux and Karma, and then champions who look to roam as a way to counter the AFK mid playstyle. Both Talon and Echo excel at the push and roam strat, so if you like that playstyle, look to pick them up. Down south in bot lane S tier, we only have two champions, which are Jinx and Sivir. This might look weird, but they are just that much better than any other marksman at this level of play. This is the main reason we dropped Ashe to A tier. She's a great champion at the moment, but every time I tried to hover her, or saw someone else do it, I couldn't come up with a real counter argument to, but why not pick Sivir? Miss Fortune dropped out of S tier to A, as she also suffered from not Sivir or Jinx syndrome. Although, she does have other drawbacks that caused her long standing in S tier to waver. The major one being that enchanters are the most dominant type of support at the moment. Though she does synergize okay with them, the problem is that Sivir and Jinx synergize way better with them, making it so that Miss Fortune will get outscaled extremely quickly in the teamfight phase, while also having trouble winning lane due to all the sustain and shield stopping her poke damage. Since traditional marksmen are struggling to match Jinx and Sivir, I'll mention some other options that can match them. If you're a duo, try Sona Taric so you can beat them mid to late game. Well, you can also try Yasuo Gragas so you can punish them early in Snowball. For non-duos, in case you just don't like it or don't have any friends, try Veigar to outscale and set up ganks easily on your own, or Vel'Koz to outshove / one combo if you land your knockup. If you liked these kind of off-meta suggestions and want more, let me know in the comment section below. Lastly, for the support update, we have Sona, Nautilus, Lux, Janna, and surprise surprise, Karma. You'll notice a lack of Nami in S tier, and that's because she got replaced as the go-to lane bully enchanter by Karma, so she dropped to A. Personally, I've been playing a decent amount of Karma, and despite being on 30 FPS 150 ping since the patch hit, this should give you an idea of how absurd her buffs were and how strong she truly is in the current meta, while also being easy. Riot even stated during a dev update recently that she's exactly where they wanted her to be, and they have no intentions of nerfing her anytime soon. This means that Karma should be a high priority for any support main to learn, as she won't get nerfed until her skin sales drop. When playing Karma, some quick tips would be to take barrier into engage supports like Leona or Alistar, while saving your mantra. You can then bait the engage, mantra W, and use barrier if needed, followed by chasing them down in lane with your Q slows for some free lane kills. During teamfights, prioritize mantra E over mantra Q, then auto-attack the front line as much as you can to help reduce your RCD. Doing this will give you the greatest teamfight impact. The only other change to support is moving Xerath down to B tier from A tier, as he's just not providing enough pressure versus enchanters in the current meta to warrant being an A tier champion. Our first Q&A question comes from Bill Nye the Science Guy from Discord, who asks, why is Ornn considered an intense difficulty champion to play? Besides the fact that most of his abilities are skill shots, I can't really see a reason why. This one might seem weird, as tanks on average don't have a high difficulty. Ornn on the other hand has a lot of skill shots, but not only that, many unique interactions a player has to get used to. A first time Ornn player will need to get used to how to use his unique lane buying ability, how to properly use his W to dodge CC, what the timing is on his QE combo for the knockup, how to properly use Brittle for max damage, the timing on his recast for his ult, as well as having a good engage sense. It's a lot to ask. His kit has far too many unique ability timings to get used to. I remember even when he was popular in competitive play, pros were still messing up the timing on the second activation of his ult. I can't even imagine how many times that ability has been messed up in solo queue. Another way to think about it is, would you rather have a first time Malphite or Ornn? One of those champions can engage reliably with one hand, while the other one can be an SKT member with two hands and probably still mess it up. Our second question comes from Sploosh on Discord, who asks, I probably missed the video they explained it, but I'm kinda baffled by why they put Rengar in S tier for jungle high-ELO every patch. Can't even remember anyone else agreeing with the notion, yet he's always number 1 on their tier list every patch. This one has actually been brought up a lot, and you did not miss the video on it. Some of the reasons he was initially placed in S tier was because he benefited greatly from the meta changes the new Scuttle spawn timer brought, allowing him to power farm to 6 much easier. The other reason was that he was a great pick into meta champs like Karthus in the past, while also doing well into Sejuani currently due to his Empower W breaking her CC. Simply put, a meta where he is allowed to hit 6, that has squishy champions that rely on CC for him to kill, and enchanters like Karma, Yuumi, Janna to empower him to get picks even easier is fantastic for Rengar. We believe that he is being undervalued, kind of like Zilean, who, for example, is really amazing with Rengar. I will admit that we could be wrong on this one, and I will certainly continue to watch if he needs to be dropped to A tier. Our third question / comment comes from Gintoki on YouTube, who says, "What a bad list. Do you just take win rates or what? Garen and Yorick in S tier? You can't be serious." Though I'm not really a serious person, I'm 100% serious about having Garen and Yorick in S tier. Now, do we only look at win rates for our tier list? Of course not. Otherwise, Mobalytics would have replaced me with Roboto Moriarty a long time ago. Least that guy would have showed up to tier list meetings on time and they wouldn't have to pay him. But in the face of such overwhelmingly high data samples and corresponding win rates like the case of Garen, even if you think he's like a noob champion or something like that, it's hard to ignore his success in gold and below. In essence, a tier list needs to be based on some kind of logic, not just feelings. For example, if it were up to me, I'd have TF in S tier and put Katarina in dumpster tier. Reason being, I do well with TF versus all matchups, and I always counterpick Katarina with Kassadin, so my perspective of TF is that he has no counterpicks, and that Katarina is trash. This is likely what's happening with you. Either you misunderstood that we have two lists, which is surprisingly common for some reason, or you just happen to beat Garen and Yorick, warping your view on their power levels. Next up, we have a Twitter question from FrostFX1 FrostFX, who asks, "I always watch these videos, but I never see Jungle Janna in the list anymore. Where is he?" So for those who don't know, we call Ivern internally Jungle Janna here at Mobalytics, mostly because I barely like calling champions by their real names. Malzahar is Pobelter, Cassiopeia is Snake Lady, and Bard is called Brad. Those are just a few examples. Now to answer your question, Ivern has been on the decline ever since the Scuttle changes came in. He lost a lot of his early power and control over the game. Because of this, his pathing became a lot more dangerous, especially at higher levels where people are picking monster early game champions like Elise, Olaf, Xin Zhao, who are just going to invade him and smash him early levels. And at lower levels of play, his problem is that even though he's safer, he's more team reliant, and he's gonna just get outclassed by tank junglers who are able to provide utility, tankiness, and engage, while also being able to proactively win the game. While Jungle Janna is currently way too reactive to impact low level games. He isn't able to actually do stuff to win the game on his own and has to rely too often on others, which is why he's not a strong recommendation. Our last question comes from Francisco Causo, I'm pretty sure I butchered your name, on Facebook, who asks, "What is preventing Fiora to move to A tier? She's underperforming currently versus a lot of champions she should be able to counter." You are definitely right about that, and the reason for this is that Fiora has a major flaw in her kit. The flaw is that even when ahead, the champion is not able to actually push her advantages and force fights. Even if she's able to win a duel, she can't really force a duel to happen. So unless she's insanely broken due to her numbers being overtuned, or she's incredibly ahead, she isn't going to be able to permadive someone like a Tryndamere, and she won't have a way to actually win the game consistently. For once, Hashinshin is actually right, and Fiora is in a perpetual state of imbalance where if her numbers are buffed, then the champion just becomes too strong at dueling, and if she's not buffed, then the champion just has no use in a team comp. Hopefully that answered your question. Thanks for watching our tier list update and Q&A video for patch 9.12. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or go to our Discord server in the link provided where you can ping me in our tier list discussion channel. Don't forget to try out Mobalytics today at mobalytics.gg, and I'll see you summoners out on the Rift.